Hey, what is up my friends and family? Welcome to today's video, and basically the topic that we're going to cover today is how to make the hard choice which is going to hurt you in the short run, but it's going to be better for you in the long run. It's going to make you a stronger person. Now, I'm going to give you some personal stories, some personal things I've gone through to kind of give you an idea of how it is going to make you better, but also we're just going to talk about the whole subject itself. Alright, so what do I mean by hurt yourself to make yourself stronger? Like, what does that even mean? And I don't mean, injure yourself physically or anything like that. What I mean is sometimes you come into life, into these certain situations, certain contexts, where you know the right decision. Your brain is telling you that is the right decision, but the way you feel, your heart, however you want to put that, is making it so hard to make that decision. Whether it's leaving something that you should definitely leave, but you don't want to leave it, or whether it's going somewhere new and you have to, change everything up, or letting something new or accepting something new into your life that you didn't previously want to. Whatever the situation is, there are certain contexts where you have to make the hard decision now and basically put yourself through misery in the short term so that misery isn't in your life long term. Now, before I go on analyzing and examining this whole idea, this whole thought process, I want to tell you guys a little bit of a story so you can kind of get an idea, and then we'll go back into kind of going in more depth in this idea. Now, when I was about 15, 16 in high school, I met someone who essentially became one of my best friends, like legit, probably top 3 best friends, MySpace standards. And I mean that for real though. I've got Kurt, I've got Ian, I've got LP. Those are some of the people that you guys know are some of my best friends in the world. He was definitely amongst that group of best friends, right? And I still, to this day, I still love the guy to death, man. I still love him to death. But being completely real here, he and I didn't have the same type of personalities, and the things that we were going for in life didn't exactly line up. So like when I would go and push myself to get closer to the goal of, YouTube and my clothing and everything and bodybuilding and all that, he wouldn't encourage me. He would actually try to, hold me back essentially. Maybe not consciously, but just his personality type. And when he was doing things, it wasn't as interesting to me as well. So deep down, I knew that this friendship here wasn't exactly beneficial. It was actually holding me back instead of pushing me forward. And the reason I'd say this friendship was holding me back, because when you have friends, you're supposed to go waste time sometimes. You're supposed to go have fun and really not progress anywhere, not do anything productive. Just have fun, because that is actually productive. Enjoying yourself, giving yourself those emotions that you need, having fun and whatnot keeps you balanced and helps you work harder when you do work. But in this particular friendship, I was legit. I would go to school all day, I would get my homework done, and then I would go right over to his house and we'd kick it all day. Go to sleep, wake up, go to school, get schoolwork done, go to work, go right over to his house. Just repeat. I did that for like a year and a half, pretty much every single day. So all of my free time, essentially, I wasted, and it was fun. I was hanging out with my buddy or whatever, but I could have spent that free time being productive. That is exactly what I wanted to do, but I was having fun. And at a certain point, the having fun was sort of just becoming a habit, and it was becoming something that I was comfortable with, rather than me doing something that was actually improving the quality of my life, just hanging out with my friend every once in a while or something like that. I was letting it take over my life. So at a certain point, I had to come to the decision of, what am I going to do here? Am I going to continue doing this and not make as much progression in my life as I should? Or am I going to back off a little bit and kind of hermit out by myself, concentrate on my work, concentrate on my passions, and push forward with that, and kind of worry about that whole friendship, the relationship a little bit less. And that is what I did. Now, of course, it's not going to be easy. You've got so used to, you've built this like habit. Every person is involved in the habit is so used to that happening over and over and over. So you have to break it, and then you're going to get backlash of the other person or whoever or whatever the situation is. That person's going to be like, "What's going on? Why are you being distant? Why are you not hanging out as much? Why are you changing, etc., etc." And maybe they don't know that you're not changing. You're just doing what you need to do finally. But you have to be strong enough to do that. I'm telling you, man, because there's so much peer pressure, but you have to do things for yourself sometimes. You have to realize when you are wasting time and being detrimental to your own progression, and cut that out and get back to progression. Okay, so now you have my story, and you can kind of get an idea of what I'm getting at here. Now, this can be applied to really any situation. It can be a best friend that you're hanging out with, or a group of friends that you're hanging out with that are bad people. Maybe you're in high school, maybe you're in a place where you are developing friendships with people you don't know too well already, so you're hanging out with people you don't have a full judgment on, you haven't really fully grasped who they are, and they're doing bad things, and then you realize that you're starting to do bad things, and maybe that's not who you are in your core, but you're just doing those bad things and it's leading you down a bad path. That's a point where you have to be like, you know what? I would rather be lonely than hang out with these bad people for a little bit and find better friends than just become comfortable with the situation. That's the theme here. Don't become comfortable with the situation and accept the situation because you're comfortable. If you're going to be in a situation, be in that situation because you want to be in that situation. Another example, which is probably one of the most relevant ones, is a relationship with a boyfriend-girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? So when your other person, your other partner or whatever, is doing something that is bad to you, is detrimental to you, holding you back from your work, not supporting you in your decisions of what you need to do. So if you want to open up a clothing company or something and you're working so hard on it, but your girlfriend is always saying like, does not look good, or like, do you really think you're gonna be able to make a clothing company that matches like this and that? Or perhaps the other person is making you feel worse and you're living your life dampened, feeling less than what you thought you were, feeling more sad, or that person has you always worried or stressed or depressed. You're living lower than your standard quality of life, your natural level of life, you know what I'm saying? And all those things that I just said can be applied to any relationship with anybody. You know, someone in your family is messing up constantly and you're constantly helping them out, but you're giving them too much. Maybe you're enabling them. Maybe they're taking your money and you're getting no benefit. They're not improving, they're not getting better, but you're using your money on them all the time. It's important to step back and analyze the situation and realize when it is best for you to step out of the situation. And I know it's very difficult because there are a few different types of personalities. You know, in my personal case, I care about people a little bit too much sometimes. Sometimes I have to tell myself like, you should not put yourself in this situation right now to help this person because it's not going to be good for you. Sometimes you have to do that and you have to just kind of bite the bullet that you're going to take away your help from someone, because in the end it's going to be better for you, but it can oftentimes be better for that person too, especially if you're enabling them in some sort of a way. The other thing that's much more obvious and prevalent that's just going to suck is that you're going to have to go through a lot of pain. It's gonna suck for you because whatever you're doing it because at some point there was some sort of positive reaction that you enjoyed, you know, going and hanging out with that friend all the time and going and doing whatever, you know, partying and doing bad things, or, you know, you're out going out with this girlfriend or whatever and she's, you know, everything you thought she was, you loved her so much and stuff. Now she's kind of morphed into something that's not so good for you, but you still remember how good that felt and you've gotten into these habits where these things feel good, even though you're kind of ignoring all this stuff over here that's terrible about the relationship. So it's gonna hurt, right? Because you have all this history with these people and you have all these emotions developed and invested into these situations. So what's gonna have to happen is you're gonna have to hurt yourself to become a stronger person, and that takes a very strong mind to do. And for some people it's a little easier to do this than for other people, and some people will never ever cut off a bad situation for themselves, and those people will end up in these relationships, in these friendships, in these career paths, in these lives that some sort of part of their life they aren't happy with, but they're just content, they're just in a habit and they just accept it, they tolerate it. And that's not what you should do. You should do what you love in your life, what you need to have the best life for you. And you have to accept that sometimes it's gonna hurt other people and sometimes it's gonna hurt the hell out of you. It's almost like this, think about it like this. You have some sort of infection on your foot and you know that it's gonna spread up your leg and then up your leg and then into your body and then it's gonna hurt you really bad, right? So what you have to do is you have to cut your foot off. And right now it's gonna hurt. No one wants to cut their foot off. Right from the start, nobody wants to look at their foot and feel it with their fingers and feel that touch and then take a hatchet to it and cut it off. I realize that that is so painful, and you can think about that analogy in the same way. Obviously, you're not literally cutting your feet off, you're not in actual lethal, deadly danger, but the idea is the same. You have to give yourself this shock, you have to jump into this ice bath, and you don't want to do that. I realize that. But you have to sit down at some point and think with your head about the situations and the context of your life and think, am I happy with it? Or do I need it to change? And then based off of the pros and cons and the actual thinking work, try to take your feelings out of it, think about it. Is it good for you or is it not good for you? And if it's not good for you, then you just have to do that dive. You have to jump into the ice cold water. You have to take that hatchet, cut your foot off, because it's gonna suck for that first 2 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is, that initial healing period, but time heals all. And you're gonna be so much happier when you're over the pain of it and then your foot is healing up. You know, you're able to start warming up again. You're not so numb anymore. And then you look back at that point when you've kind of lost the emotional blindfold and you look back at the contextual situation, you look at the actual situation and you can look back and be like, Thank God I got out of that situation. That girl was terrible for me. She was always mad when I was doing the things that I love, or, you know, I was hanging out with that friend, and you know what, I was this close to going to jail like so many times. I'm glad I didn't do that. Now, I'm not saying these are any things that I've done. I'm just saying, like, those are situations you can get yourself out of. Guys, all I'm saying is just try to set yourself up for your life in the best way possible. Always have the best in mind for yourself. I feel like a lot of people just get comfortable with their life and they just start tolerating things. And I don't know, hopefully this video can be some sort of a wake-up call for you. If you need it, you know, kick you in the butt, to make you start thinking about whatever the problems is that you have in your life, and maybe you can start analyzing what you do need to cut out or switch, and what you want to keep and what you enjoy and want to be a part of your life permanently. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. This thought came up to me last night while I was at the gym, and I was like, you know what? That's actually a pretty solid video that I could have used many years ago dealing with friendships and relationships of the past. And so I thought I would make it. Hopefully this can help someone who's in the same situations that I was in previously. If you guys do have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this situation. Make sure you give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy the content, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Get Beyond the Week apparel. Get the poster on beyondtheweek.com. I will see you all soon. CT